From our Main Street newsroom, this is 2 News Live at 3:30.
Live here at 3:30, taking a live look from the Hennifer area this afternoon. Crews making progress on the Rocky Canyon fire. We've got a live update on conditions and what's next for those who've been evacuated. Plus, check out this video just shared into our newsroom here, and this is some of the video from yesterday. An in-depth conversation with firefighter efforts from the National Guard right here in Utah, what it takes for them to be activated and what type of preparation goes into responding to a wildfire. And here is a live look. We're getting a first look inside of a new housing complex. We will take you to the University of Utah and show you what's opening for the fall semester coming up in just a few minutes. Great to have you with us here live on 2 News at 3:30. We are in our downtown Salt Lake City studios here, and we are bringing you a lot of live coverage throughout the course of the show here. We want to head up to Hennifer right now. Natalie Wattis is where the Rocky Canyon fire has been burning for the last few days, forcing evacuations, changing conditions from morning to afternoon to evening. Natalie, I want to know what things look like right now and if there's good progress being made with the combating weather conditions that always seem to spark up here and create new challenges in the afternoon hours.
Yeah, hey Brian, it feels like one fire after the next, doesn't it? This summer has just been incredibly active. Here, if you take a look behind me, I'll show you again. This is what we're seeing on the Rocky Canyon fire right now. Earlier, we had a very large plume of smoke. We had some flames, but if you can see how the sky is darkening off to the left side of my screen here, we've got a little bit of a storm front rolling through. You probably saw with my hair going all crazy that it's getting pretty windy here. We did see helicopters flying around and around. There were about 4 of them that we counted that were doing water drops, but it looks like those have all been grounded at this point. Then that's one of the challenges that you were talking about, is that when you have a storm front rolling in, when there's the possibility of lightning, they have to take extra precautions like that. It makes the fight a little bit harder. Now, what we have learned this afternoon is that the fire has grown about 1,000 acres today. The latest update we got is that this fire has now burned 14,631 acres, but the containment is still the same. It's about 23% contained. There are about 300 personnel working on this fire behind me right now. Brian.
Natalie, what are the goals here throughout the afternoon hours and again pushing into tonight when, again, last night things got squirrely on fire crews, they had to evacuate Hennifer. So did they address how they're going to try to combat the afternoon winds and all of the ever-changing conditions here when it gets hot, dry, and windy in the afternoon?
Yeah, so what fire officials told us this afternoon is that we have some southern winds pushing through, and that's helping in some areas the fire be pushed back onto itself. And so in those areas, they're really focusing on getting that perimeter contained is the wrong word, but basically it's helping them get optimal conditions to slow progression is what we were told. Now they're going to be reevaluating evacuations. They do that daily. And if it goes too far over the ridge, like what you're looking at right now, then the city of Morgan will become an extreme concern for them. So right now, the folks in Hennifer that have had to evacuate, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to go home anytime soon. We haven't heard anything to that effect, and we're waiting to see what the fire does. We have some pretty strong winds coming in, but we do know that some crews were airlifted into some of those rocky mountainous areas to try to go direct and work on this fire. So that sounds like what the plan is for
Natalie
today.
Wattis. Natalie Wattis reporting live for us here in the Summit County area. Again, the fire spanning multiple counties here and some growth from last time mapping to what we had today. Natalie, thank you. We have a live look over Salt Lake this afternoon here. Utah Governor Spencer Cox has ordered flags to be flown at half staff at state facilities to honor the 2 firefighters killed in the helicopter crash while they were battling the Widemouth 2 fire. Again, a live look from that area this afternoon, and we can see the video from the Capitol from earlier today of that flag at half staff. Christopher Anderson and Miles Elliott were working a U.S. Forest Service contract for HTS when their Sikorsky Sky Crane helicopter went down just before 11 o'clock last Friday. Governor Cox said the 2 firefighters dedicated their lives to serving others and made the ultimate sacrifice while protecting the state of Utah. It is dangerous work, and we saw them actually conducting that work earlier on in the week, just days before they were killed. Let's go to Lieutenant Colonel Penny McCarthy now, the commander for the 2nd Battalion, 211th Aviation Regiment, joining us live here on 2 News Live at 3:30. Lieutenant Colonel McCarthy, thanks so much for joining us here. We've seen the Blackhawks mobilized with the direction of the Utah Division of Forestry, Fire and State Lands here to fight some of these wildfires, Black Canyon, the Rocky Canyon fire. What type of work does the Guard do on active wildland fires?
The work we're doing right now is we have 2 UH-60 Blackhawks and air crew members and support personnel who are helping with fire suppression activities on this fire.
So how does the Guard get activated? What has to go into you getting the phone call to then prepare to do what's next?
So any of those emergencies come up from those originate at the local and county officials. Those will get pushed up to the Department of Emergency Services through the governor's office, and then the National Guard will get tasked to support if the assets are appropriate for the mission at hand. And then, of course, we're notified. We stand ready to support our state when these type of incidents occur.
So what type of preparation does it take to respond to a wildfire on behalf of the Guard? I know it is not something that you're responding to every day or even every season here in Utah, but we have seen it as of late. So what is the preparation, maybe the annual, or if you do anything on a monthly basis, what goes into all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of the maneuvers and tasks that you see on firefighting very closely align with tasks that we prepare for throughout the year. For firefighting specifically, during what we consider the off season, we are doing a lot of coordination with our partners from the Department of Natural Resources, the United States Forest Service, and local agencies to conduct just education and coordination so that we're best prepared for fires when our firefighting season kicks off. And as our crew members, we're continually conducting flight evaluations and training specifically to support this type of mission so that when the season starts, we're absolutely prepared for this. So as I said previously, a lot of the tasks that we do in our training flights very closely align with this type of mission when we're called upon to respond to fires.
Well, you do a lot of things in our communities. Is this a different sort of feeling for your crews when they get to do this type of work? And what is it like to serve your communities while you're doing fire suppression efforts, mostly from the air?
Absolutely. This 100% has a different feel for us. One of the most important things that we do on these fires, of course, is preserving life, preserving property, and easing human suffering. And it just hits different when it's our neighbors. Sometimes we have family members that live in these communities. We have soldiers in our own battalion that live in these communities. And so it's really important for us. It's a tremendous honor for us to be able to support the firefighting efforts when we're called upon, especially when it's just right in our own backyard.
Lieutenant Colonel Penny McCarthy, kind enough to join us here on 2 News Live this afternoon. Thank you again for giving us a few minutes, and thank you for serving the state of Utah, our communities, and stepping up when called upon. I know it means a great deal to so many folks across the state. Thanks again.
It's an honor. Thank you.
So let's take a live look in the Beaver area. Highway 89 also on your screen. Paiute County this afternoon. We're tracking the potential for flash flooding once again in this area. We've seen issues over the past few weeks due to the Cottonwood fire burn scar. Also, the Silver King burn scar still flooding, by the way. We saw that on Highway 89 this afternoon. In Paiute County, just south of Marysville, that road is closed between Junction and Marysville. At least it has been. Those crews have been working their rear end off to try to get that road closed because that is basically one way in, one way out for so many folks in Paiute County. Chase Thomason is here. The big weather maker right now, as you see it, I'm just guessing it is the potential for some flooding today.
Yeah, monsoon moisture continues to increase. So we're starting to see a few more showers and storms, even here in northern Utah. I want to show you radar. Of course, it's not widespread, not quite yet, but that might be changing watching over the next few days. You'll see some storms going up over the Oakers, near the point of the mountain, Lehigh, Eagle Mountain, seeing a little bit of rain this afternoon. So we're tracking those thunderstorms. There is a thunderstorm, though, near the fire, near that I-80, I-84 junction. A little bit of lightning, but a little bit of rain near Echo Reservoir, probably just south of Hennifer. But we're probably getting some gusty winds and a little bit of rain on that. So a little bit of good news, the wind probably not so much.
Something like that can ground aircraft too, which obviously you would like to keep it up and flying, but conditions can be dangerous. Chase, what is your next big weather maker here you're tracking?
It's even more monsoon moisture increasing throughout the week. There's even a storm system that's going to help provide that lift for showers and storms. So our rain chances are really going up, especially on Thursday. And then we're watching the risk for flash flooding. So you have to stay out of those slot canyons, normally dry washes. We're talking about most of our state and national parks for the next few days. Definitely a possibility with a higher probability in southwestern Utah. So definitely a risk for flash flooding at Zion National Park.
I want you to help us segue to our next topic because you shared a picture from many years ago, but impacting Salt Lake City. What happened 27 years ago, is it right here in downtown Salt Lake City?
Yep, 1999, we had an F2 tornado that moved in right after the lunch hour, and it was a very damaging tornado that hit downtown Salt Lake City and rolled through the avenues. And you could see right there of what it looked like as it got very close to the Delta Center. There it is right there. Today we have dark clouds, but we don't have a risk for tornadoes, so that's a bit of good news. But something that I think everyone will remember if you are a Utahn. I was up at Bear Lake with my family, but I remember turning on the news, everybody watching Channel 2, and hearing Sterling Polson talk about what he saw in downtown Salt Lake.
I'm glad you brought that up, Chase. It's the first thing I asked in our morning meeting. Is Sterling going to be here?
Right.
I almost want him to replay it and to kind of take us through that, but we will talk to you again coming up on 2 News at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much. Wind speeds were between about 113, 157 miles per hour that day. We can roll that video one more time. I want to show it to you again if we can. The twister was on the ground for about 10 minutes, moving from the Delta Center to the Conference Center before going up Memory Grove and into the avenues. It killed 1 person, injured 80 others that day. The tornado caused $170 million in damages, and then 27 years later, it is still the most destructive tornado in state history. We have seen over the last couple of years in more remote parts of Utah, we have seen additional smaller tornadoes come down, and you can obviously find a lot of that if you go through the search option on our website. Perfect opportunity to head over to our content center here with Jonathan May. We were just talking to the folks at the National Guard. This is the POV video that is just, I mean, it really puts things into a different perspective.
Yeah, we wanted to get this POV video up right away. We just heard from the National Guard, but we kind of wanted to show just where they're at. I mean, they're hanging over the edge of a helicopter, dropping water on a fire because they're protecting, just the not only the land but the community. And to kind of show what's at stake here is you have these neighbors yesterday, and we wanted to put together a video just showing these people evacuate their animals, their livestock. Of course, animals do pull at the heartstrings of us all. So you can see this horse being loaded in a trailer, to get away from this wildfire, the Rocky Canyon fire.
Something else we talked about yesterday, what was unfolding in Colombia, and now we have some new pictures and just some new information on what was taking place there as this earthquake has just ravaged Colombia. And it's not something that obviously we experience really here in the state of Utah to this degree. These are startling images.
Yeah, we have about 71 pictures right here on our gallery here. I'll step aside so you can get a closer look here. Yeah, right here in Colombia, 7.4 magnitude earthquake that left at least 100 dead after this here, and over 3,000 missing, unaccounted for. You can just see, going through these photos, the damage and the rubble here after the aftermath of this earthquake in West Colombia.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. As always, you can go to our YouTube page to find all of our long-form videos, all of those things you're seeing here. You can also check out their live, and as we live stream a lot of different news conferences and such, but also give you those long-form interviews so you can get the context here. Happening now, the University of Utah giving a tour of a new residence hall opening in time for the fall semester. Live look from Trailhead. This is the new 6-story student housing complex. Looks pretty cool. I want to go back to college. It's near the Huntsman Center and Fort Douglas track stop. Includes nearly 1,500 beds in there as well. The first floor features a gaming hub. It's got a cafe. That's where you'd find me. Also a grab-and-go shop, indoor bouldering room, fitness center, outdoor patio, bike repair, ski and snowboard equipment storage. Also included, they've got all sorts of different room types there as well. It is a interesting day here in downtown Salt Lake City. To me, we talked about this recently. It doesn't feel like 1 year since we saw the destruction just down the street from us here at KUTV 2 News. As you see that live video of Main Street and also the destruction from the fire that broke out at the restaurants in downtown Salt Lake. It started in the London Bell restaurant around 8:40 on August 11th last year, spread to neighboring businesses, destroying millions of dollars worth of property, impacted nearly 300 employees, something we talked about at length over the last year or so. Some of the businesses are up and running. Others are still working out the possibility if they will open again. Jamie McGriff produced a YouTube special for us on this topic, taking a full walkthrough of the ruins of Whiskey Street. It is hard to look at, especially a place with so many memories, and it's left to virtually nothing. You can find her full story on our KUTV YouTube page. It is right on our homepage. Coming up here on 2 News Live at 3:30, we're talking to the folks with Utah Division of Wildlife Resources when we return. Welcome back here on 2 News Live. 2 News listens. We're always seeing what you're saying on social media and trying to get some more insight on these things. A couple postings we've been seeing about wildlife sightings this time of year, an increase. One person on Reddit who lives near Dimpledale posted they recently moved back to their childhood neighborhood after leaving the state and said there's been more wildlife sightings around the neighborhood than ever they had as a child. They said in the last few weeks they've seen a deer, a coyote, some skunks, some bats, just to name a few. It sounds like there's an influx there of some of our friends being in those more populated areas. I can only wonder why when we decide to build our homes where we do. But kind enough to join us here, Chad Wilson from the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources, the game mammals coordinator there at DWR. Chad, are you seeing an increase in terms of reports of wildlife sightings in more of our urban areas as of late?
Yeah, I think we're seeing quite a few, an uptick of a lot of different animals. People are definitely seeing wildlife. It feels like they're going to places where generally they haven't been as much.
A lot of that. I know I kind of alluded to it here. Obviously, we are in the space of building and getting on all these things, and obviously seasons are changing and things are migrating and whatnot. But what do you attribute to the movement of a lot of these animals that may not have been in that space previously?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different potential reasons, but you know, we'd had a low snowpack last year, some drought conditions. With that, animals look for food, so a lot of times they'll go out to places where they generally wouldn't in search of food.
So what are some general safety tips for folks that live in some of these areas, especially those that have the pets, the young children, if someone were to come across maybe an unfamiliar animal to something they normally would see in their neighborhood?
Yeah, I'd say just always proceed with caution, right? Know that it's a possibility. Be mindful of what potentially could attract animals into your yard. If you're leaving your food out, that could bring your pet food, that could attract animals. Other things that can attract them are like bird feeders. Sometimes will attract bears. So just securing all that stuff, making sure your pets, your livestock, if you have chickens, whatever it is, that everything's secured, will increase your chances of not having them come into your yard.
Chad, thanks for joining us here on 2 News Live this afternoon, something I'm sure we will talk about again as the changes keep evolving here in some of our metro areas, our urban areas. Thanks again. So as we continue looking at some of the things that you are saying on social media, this is a video that has just gone absolutely bonkers. A guy posting on TikTok showing him ordering from a Shake Shack kiosk at the Salt Lake City International Airport. In the video, you can see the prices go up on his food items when he selects no tip option. So Shake Shack has since replied, saying that this goes against company policy and that the increase in prices was actually a glitch in the kiosk. The technical glitch has since been resolved, they say. But boy, has Shake Shack been getting it on social media as a result. Here's a map of now all the locations for Shake Shack in the Salt Lake Valley area. This viral video has raised complaints and concerns about tipping culture, which renews questions about fatigue and etiquette. But Shake Shack says, wasn't us. The airport also says, wasn't us. But everyone's hammering away at Shake Shack. Also happening in Sandy this evening, The council there is voting on the future of 17 acres of land around Crescent View Middle School. Tonight's vote will decide whether or not a bond question is placed on the ballot in November for Sandy voters, something you probably want to be aware of if you're in the Sandy area. And a post in a community group says it's important to share your opinions on the city's purchase. They say you can attend tonight's meeting in person or have your email letter read into the meeting record. They want to hear you. You've got 3 minutes to speak. Tonight's meeting is set to begin at 5:15 as we take that live look from Sandy here alongside me in downtown Salt Lake. As always, we are listening to you here on 2 News Live. We are listening to what you are saying, what you are seeing on social, sharing with us. We take a look at that. We try to get some context, some insight, and wrap things up here. We'll be right back with more 2 News Live at 3:30. Back here on 2 News Live at 3:30, Jim Spiewak has a long-form, in-depth conversation about 4:15 about what?
So Colville Mayor Rory Swenson, Hennifer, they're the residents that are having to evacuate from the fire in Summit County. So we talked with him today about the message that he has for the people that live in Colville. So we're going to talk about why he is reaching out to his residents when they're not evacuating.
Coming up at 4:15, 2 News at 4 starts right after this.